Haere mai, hoki mai, and welcome back to MEMS Journeys. This is part 2 of my Hikoi ki Waitangi series, and it is mainly focusing on the forum tent and the various different workshops that are held in the forum tent. Societal issues, cultural issues, kuia kaumātua, tangata tiriti, mana motuhake, politicians, kingitanga, and there's also tribal groups, and there's also kapahaka. So it's a very interesting part of the Waitangi Treaty Grounds, and apart from going through all the celebration side where all the merch shops are, where you can get hats and t-shirts of your, to memorialise the day. You can listen to music, you can do some karaoke, you can eat some nice munchies. You may even go for a swim. You can also watch the waka ama, and that's huge. All the waka that are out there, that's an amazing sight. But one of the main things is the forum tent. Hilda Hawkyard Harawira, who is the wife people actually from when I was a young girl in the 80s. I'd been overseas previously, and I'd come back and there was all this stuff going on in New Zealand. And the first time I heard about them was when I became involved in the Hikoi ki Waitangi in 1984. And I remember all these people. And at that Te Tiriti o Waitangi workshop was hosted by Annette Sykes. Then you have Ngāti Hine tribal workshop, Ngāpuhi tribal workshop, because Ngāti Hine and Ngāpuhi are northern tribes, and it's the northern people who are hosting the Waitangi celebrations and the Waitangi activities. It's over 3 days. And this year, 2024, it's huge because there is a lot of groundswell opinion, especially Māori opinion, is coming to the surface, showing concern and showing for what is happening politically in New Zealand at this time. Then you have the kingitanga, and their speaker was Rahui Papa. So the Tinoranga Tiratanga workshops, there was Dr. Hene Moa Elder, who's a psychiatrist, Māori psychiatrist. Hana Rāwhiti Maipi Clark, who is a politician for the Māori Party. Ben Dalton, who's an activist, who's been an activist since the 70s. Annette Sykes, the same. And Hone Harawira, the same, very outspoken. And I would say, they say it how it is. And then there was a kapahaka, and it finished at 2:30. And so I just show you a couple of clips of what I witnessed up at the at the forum tent. So that's all from me.
Those are my tuakana. Without them, I wouldn't be here. And I'd like to acknowledge all our whānau who aren't here today, like Hiraina, Jan, Mangu Awarau, Paua Erstage, and just so many more. I see my sister Lil here, she's a big part of Te Kaweriki. We've got our Emily Yates. They're all here, they're all around somewhere.
I love watching your videos. Hoi anō, harau I te kai whakangāhu, I hara hoki ai te kai waiata. Ko ngā pūkenga, ko ngā whea, ko ka whakatōki roto I aku tama, ko te hapaka I te ngāhere. Nō reira, koe rāku kōrero I te rangi nei, en kau. Aro nei kōrero ki a koutou, nō reira tauira mā, are mai. Ko te tāhuhu o te kōrero ko te mana Māori motuhake. Nari ko te pau ka tūri e au ko te mana. So unlike these experts here, I won't delve into mana Māori motuhake. I'm not a wordsmith, I'm not a policy analyst, I'm a proud possum trapper, as much of a cliche as it is. But I will talk about mana. But I'm going to tell you a story, and hopefully it's for the whānau maini-hira, because if I had heard this when I was your guys' age, I would have probably been a lot different. A couple hundreds of years when Māori were there, they tried to farm more. So they had farms to try and grow more, like they did in the islands. They realised that a moa takes about 4 years to grow to maturity. So 4 years of effort to get one kai didn't really work out, so they quickly gave up that kawa. In that time, they were sending moa back to the Cook Islands. Did you know that as well?
No.
Did you know that? No. So one of our first major exports was moa meat. We would pack it in salt or fat and send it back to the Cook Islands. It's the other tummy, the better tummy. Don't laugh too hard. I'll take away the fun. Tummy is squared. There's a math stroke. So we used to send more back to the islands. And so you find that. And about 100 years after arrival, we start seeing moa go extinct. Now, when I say there's that myth that Māori killed the moa off, at their peak, moa were thought to be about 2 million individual moa around the country. At the time of extinction, there was only 2,000 Māori in Aotearoa. The maths doesn't maths there. Yeah. 2,000 individuals cannot really kill off, hunt off 2 million moa. Even with our best efforts, 2,000 hunters with the best technology cannot kill 2 million deer.
Thank you.
Now, I don't know what motivated you to come, but there's a reason. You think about that. There is a reason why you are here in this room. Now, can I ask, can anyone who has heard me speak, this is the 5th year in a row that I've been speaking on the Treaty of Mana Motuhake on the 5th of February. Hands up those who have been to one of those sessions in the last 5 years.
I've got to read about you.
Right. A pleasant way to while away a few hours up in this beautiful bay. What was the motivation for being here? I don't know. I never really thought about it. But today, I'm thinking about why am I here today when I promised myself I'll never speak again. I'm always saying this. I'm going to refuse all speaking engagements. And then Ngahuia rings me and I always do it because she's titifies moko. She's titifies moko. But there's a reason why we're all here today, because this is a transformative Waitangi. This really is. It is transformative. Just think about that. Now, we are also reminded of 1971 by the presence of Ngā Tangatoa here. There's our tent over there, and some of us old-timers, no one in there doted, none of us in the wheelchair, but nevertheless, we're pretty elderly. If you can think back to 53 years ago, in 1971, when we came up here to protest, she took on the might of the crown on her own. Do you know what courage it took to do that? What commitment to our kaupapa it took to do that? And I resolved, before that, I was a opera singer, would you believe? I was training, I had won a scholarship to the London School of Opera for 4 years. So I was just a pretty little thing. And this was not part of the plan. But when she did that, she changed my life, because I decided then and there I would never be left behind again. And if anyone was going to be bolting, I'd be right there bolting with them. Now, 1971 was transformative because we challenged the might of the state, and we made a fuss, did we ever? And then we came back every year, 72, 73, 74, 75. And do you know what happened? We were communicating to our people. We built a people's movement. This wasn't a movement led by rangatira. They were in the New Zealand Maori Council. They were in the Federation of Maori Authorities. They were iwi leaders. We weren't. We led a people's movement just by coming up here and doing our thing and by objecting. Every year we had a big banner, and those of you who are old enough to remember what that banner said, it said, "The treaty is a fraud." Now we knew that when the government set itself up in 1852, that it had no mandate, that it was not based, because even though it's 42 years since I wrote it, it still speaks to us today. Now the opening sentence, it does three things in Māori sovereignty, was my aim. The first was to say, what is Māori sovereignty? What's the goal? Because look, we were all getting arrested. It was a very traumatic time for us. And I know Hone has reminded us that end of 1981, he had enough arrest to keep him in prison for 140 years. Now I had the same, I was basically...
very short. Whether the buy having a name or each. Each the audio. I got another appointment. So yeah, I just want to respond to that calling. You know, and for me, we don't know who the calling or chia or telling here. It's why Yamato, and I'm not here. Yamato, keep in the kitty who are here. You have to pay here. Today, I put a new face. It's going back to the ancient time, the utilisation of the arte, in the separation of Rani Raupapa, Utani Tera. The Utani Tera is a reaching out there, Hina Tanato or Temusi, Ahapo Waipo. And was amazing. Amazing to try and, for me, there's a big change for me. The first thing for me, for Mama Motuhake, is to liberate yourself, to let go of the different layers.
I guess I got involved coming up to Waitangi in the late 70s. A lot of that work had been done. And I can recall, I guess, 1984, when there was a call for kotahitanga. And at Wahipa in Waikato, there was a big meeting of the motu, and we decided to hikoi ki Waitangi. The idea was to come up here in force and to meet the Governor General and to put our submission on his table, etc., etc. That didn't happen. But I think coming here this time, I think this is a time that it actually should have happened anyway. So I actually think this is the right time for it to happen, because when we came in 1984, the motu was stopped at the bridge. One of our karaua, our tohunga, Pumi Taituha, used his tokotoko, did a karakia, opened the bridge, the police all stepped aside. We got across the bridge and we got stuck down the bottom here. We were not allowed to go up to the ground or come in here. And so we had time to be up here, part of our contingent, and the motu stuck down this side.
Yeah.
There was a big kōrero about peace. About we came in peace, all this hikoi, and we go back in peace, rather than letting them divide us here and say 100 of you can go and meet the Governor General, all the rest of you can stay out. We decided to go together home. We went back to Kawati's marae, and we're welcome there. So I come this time, and I'm pleased I did, because I haven't been to Waitangi for a couple of years. Pleased to see all my old mates over here. Annette and I have been through a few things together. She's my lawyer. Not that I've ever been arrested. I must be a bit different to all these ones. I've never been arrested. I was right beside my mother when she got arrested, and they walked around and they selectively arrested people. So we won them, they got off their trespass.
Tūmana konui te rā, te mana Māori e, te wairua Māori o rā. Ka hunu karanga, tā ki tumu maranga, karanga tianga waka e, o te motu, hui e tai ki e. Kia ora tātou. Kei te mokopuna au o te tai rāwhiti, ngā te ko ngā te kahungunu, ko rongo mai wahine, ko ngai tā manuhiri, ko rongo pakata, ko te aitanga mahaki, ko ngā te brau.
So this video, obviously, the focus was on the forum tent. The forum tent is usually an activity that only happens in Waitangi, because Waitangi is the spiritual home of the Treaty of Waitangi. And so we have Waitangi celebrations all around New Zealand, but the main, most significant events usually occur at Waitangi itself. And so the forum tent hosts various different groups that have very significant issues that they like to speak about and open up to the public, which are youth issues, anything that's of significance and importance to the people of New Zealand. And so if you are visiting here or looking at this video from overseas and you've never been to New Zealand before, or even if you have been to New Zealand before, you may not be aware that we have a treaty between the Indigenous people who have been in this country for 800 odd years and the descendants of the Crown, the British, the European, who settled here in the mid-1800s. And so the treaty was signed in 1840. Okay, and so that's what it's all about. So I'm going to finish here with my usual saying, don't forget, if you're out there in nature, even if you're in a flash RV, or if you're hiking and tenting, or you're in a putt-putt camper van, don't forget that when you're out there in nature, out there in te taiao, only leave your footprints. Kia ora, ngā mihi.